more bullish, yet the price continues to be beaten down by the speculators who are selling it, who are convinced that, aha, this crisis is bad for gold because now the U.S. economy is going to be great because we're going to get all this extra government, which, of course, is nonsense. Now, I was mentioning on Goldman Sachs because Goldman Sachs, they came out on Wednesday, and it's almost as if they knew that the following day we were going to have the good news on the Republicans changing their tune, softening their tune, basically caving in to the president and bowing to the pressure from the polls. But there's another story just about Goldman Sachs that shows you, and it reminds me of that Mel Brooks movie, History of the World, where, he's Louis the 16th. And, he keeps looking at the camera, twiddling his little, mustache, whatever he's got. He's looking at the camera and smiles in a way, and he says, it's good to be the king. It's good to be the king, right? Hey, Marie, how you doing? And, it's good to be the king. Well, it's good to be Goldman Sachs. That's for sure. Probably it's the next best thing to being the king. But they always seem to know what's going to happen right before it happens. But this news story here about a lawsuit that was just filed by a lady who worked for the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, who was a senior auditor, a senior examiner who audited Goldman Sachs. I mean, I'm sure one of many. And she was looking over their internal controls with respect to conflicts of interest, which I'm sure run rampant at Goldman Sachs. But in any event, according to her findings, she found some serious violations at Goldman Sachs. But before she could write her report, finalize the allegations in an official report, which obviously would have been problematic for Goldman Sachs because they would have had a fine or they would have had a problem there, her superiors called her into the office and I guess put some pressure on her, or Goldman put pressure on her to try to alter her findings. According to her claim in her lawsuit, they wanted her to falsify her findings, which she refused to do, and she was promptly terminated. Her boss said, well, we no longer trust your judgment, and so you're fired. So because you audited Goldman Sachs and you found a problem, we're firing you because we don't want you to find a problem with Goldman Sachs, which is very odd for regulators because normally the regulators bend over backwards to find problems where there aren't problems. I mean, if they audit you and they don't find anything wrong, they got to audit you again because they know you must have done something wrong. I mean, you can't get a clean audit. But the regulators are all about making mountains out of molehills. But when it comes to, I guess, auditing Goldman Sachs, if you find a mountain, they want to whittle it down to a molehill. So it's, the rules that apply to all the smaller firms don't seem to apply to Goldman Sachs. And there's, they've got so many Goldman Sachs executives working over there at the New York Fed. It's just a big revolving door between Goldman Sachs, the Federal Reserve, the regulators. It's in one door, out the other. And they always seem to come out, on top. Now, I don't know. Am I jealous of Goldman Sachs? Just pointing it out. But it always does look a little